They mocked the deathworld girl's silence, until one touch broke his neck. It didn't start with violence, it started with noise. The transport hub on Orbital Station Leira-7 pulsed with overlapping languages, clicks, growls, melodic tones vibrating against metal walls. Holographic route maps flickered, projectors humming, ships docking like metallic beasts exhaling steam. In all that motion, all that restless energy, she was the single unmoving point in the room. Aria Leontis, 19, human, deathworld-born. Sitting alone at a transit bench made of transparent carbon lattice, she looked almost fragile. She wasn't. Not by any metric that mattered. The cadets around her pretended not to notice her, but their glances kept circling back like orbiting debris. Some whispered. Some stared openly. Some lingered just long enough to confirm the rumor, the human girl with the unnervingly steady heartbeat. The one who didn't flinch at thunder drills, decompression alarms, or confrontation. She sat there quietly, reading the holotext suspended over her palm, an analysis of nonlinear conflict escalation patterns. Not a single muscle in her face moved. Not a single breath quickened. Even seated, her posture had a kind of still gravity, like she was anchored to the core of the station, while everyone else floated. Across the concourse, the three who had forced the incident began their approach. Zarek Vorn, broad-scaled shoulders, crest markings indicating lineage from a high-gravity world. Predatory posture, but sloppy. The kind of creature who mistook mass for authority. His companions, a wiry Vescan with segmented limbs and a soft-skinned blue Cerulean, trailed him like lesser moons pulled into orbit. "There she is," the Vescan muttered. "Look! Not even blinking! What creature reads during peak transit hours?" "Something dead inside," the Cerulean whispered. Zarek smirked. "Something that needs to be reminded of hierarchy." Passengers stepped aside as they crossed. Not because they were dangerous, but because they wanted no involvement. Everyone sensed the charge in the air, a confrontation searching for a spark. Aria sensed it too. She didn't look up, but her finger paused for half a second over the holotext. That was enough to say, "I know. I hear you. I'm measuring your footsteps." Zarek stopped in front of her, casting a long shadow. His armor plates glinted under the station's artificial skylights. "You're the human," he said, tone half amused, half probing. "Deathworld spawn. They say you fight storms for breakfast." Aria lifted her eyes once. Calm. Neutral. The kind of look that didn't land like defiance, it landed like calculation. "I'm reading," she said. The voice was soft, even, unthreatening. Zarek stepped closer. "I didn't ask what you were doing. I'm talking about what you are." The Vescan clicked its mandibles in mimicry of laughter. "Maybe she's defective. Look how still she is. No healthy creature sits like that." Aria turned a page in her holotext. "If you're trying to provoke reaction, try improving your accuracy. You're misreading posture with biology." The Cerulean blinked. "She talks." Zarek's grin widened. "I want to see what makes Deathworlders so special." Aria didn't sigh. Didn't tense. She merely closed the holotext, letting the projection sink back into her palm. "You're not here for a question. You're here for an audience." Zarek leaned down, close enough that Aria smelled the mineral tang of his armor polish. "I'm here for respect." "You mistake compliance for respect," she replied. "Different things." The Vescan's segmented fingers tapped impatiently. "Stand up then. If you're so calm, stand and look him in the eyes." Aria didn't move. "If I stand, this becomes mutual escalation." "You don't want that." The Cerulean snorted. "And why not?" Aria's eyes flicked to him, gray, quiet, unblinking. "Because I'm trained not to let escalation continue." Zarek's jaw tensed. The concourse around them slowed, passengers stopping, steps hesitant, conversations thinning into uncertain silence. Something about the human's voice didn't match her size, her stillness, her youth. It carried a precision that felt sharpened. He reached out, claws lightly grazing the fabric of her jacket. The touch lasted less than a heartbeat. The sound that followed barely belonged to sound at all. A clean, crisp crack, like ceramic snapping under tension. Zarek's body jerked sharply to one side, collapsing before even his entourage understood what they saw. His crest folded at an unnatural angle, the plates of his neck misaligned like misfit armor. Aria hadn't stood. Hadn't leaned. Hadn't shifted more than a fraction of a centimeter. She exhaled once, slowly, then opened her holotext again. The Veskin stumbled backward, mandibles clattering in panic. What did you just do? Aria scanned her page. He grabbed a seated human. Rapid force applied without balance collapses the structure supporting it. Even basic physics should have warned him. The Corellian stared at Zarek's motionless form, voice thin. That wasn't physics. Aria closed the text again, more deliberate this time. On my world, reflexes evolved under constant threat simulation. My reaction responded before intention formed. You killed him, the Veskin whispered. His body disagreed with the pressure he applied, Aria replied. Cause and effect. Silence swallowed the concourse. The transport hub alarms didn't blare, they didn't need to. Everyone present was already frozen, every set of alien eyes on the only human in the room. Zarek's limb twitched once, reflexive, then the twitch stopped. Aria finally looked at them, really looked at them. Leave. The Veskin ran. The Corellian stumbled after him. Aria didn't watch them go. She powered down her holotext, placed it neatly in her jacket pocket, and adjusted her posture as though preparing for class instead of aftermath. Security drones arrived, sleek white constructs, lenses glowing amber. A crystalline officer approached her, shards in his body shifting with each step. Human, he said. Explain. Aria gestured toward the fallen cadet. He attempted dominance assertion without understanding biomechanical risk. I remained seated. The officer stared at her. Deathworld reflex? Yes. Intent? No. Passengers whispered from behind the security perimeter. She didn't even move. His neck just. She's dangerous. She's calm. The crystalline officer gestured for the drones to secure the scene. You will be escorted to debriefing. Aria stood for the first time in minutes. The moment she rose, everyone near her instinctively stepped back. Even the drone's amber lights brightened, recalibrating distance. Aria glanced once at Zarek's body. Not with guilt. Not with satisfaction. With understanding. He came seeking a hierarchy. She murmured. He found physics. The officer frowned. Repeat? Nothing. They escorted her toward the internal lifts. Aria followed without resistance, steps measured, breath steady. Inside the lift chamber, reflective metal walls shimmered with shifting light. Aria caught her reflection, neutral expression, hair slightly mussed from sitting, jacket sleeve pulled where Zarek had touched her. She adjusted it methodically. Not perfectionism. Readiness. The lift doors closed. The concourse disappeared behind cold steel. Aria's pulse never changed. Her mind, however, had already begun calculating what this incident would unleash. Not fear. Not trouble. Attention. The worst kind. Not just because she had killed him, but because she had not stood up to do it. That broke something deeper in everyone who saw it. Because stillness was not safety. Stillness was a warning sign they had ignored too long. The lift descended. Aria exhaled once. Then prepared herself for the questions that would follow. She did not fear them. She feared what would happen when they realized the truth. Deathworlders don't snap. They respond. And sometimes, response is faster than intention. Even theirs. Even hers. Even now, the debrief chamber on Leira-7 wasn't designed for comfort. It was a metal box suspended above a viewing pit, walls lined with sensor arrays that pulsed in pale blue. A single chair sat in the center, restraints folded neatly beneath the armrests, as if waiting for someone who would actually need them. Aria didn't. She stood beside the chair instead. The two examiners entered with the stiff energy of individuals trying not to show fear. One was a lean synthen, skin like polished chrome, expression unreadable. The other, a careless scholar with soft translucent fur and nervous hands. The synthen activated a hollow panel. Cadet Aria Leontis. Human. Deathworld designation Terra. Aria didn't blink. Correct. The careless swallowed. We reviewed partial footage. The incident, it happened too quickly for our sensors to map. Reflex, she said. Reflex shouldn't break a neck, the careless murmured. Aria tilted her head. On my world, reflex prevents death. If my body perceives threat proximity and contact, it reacts. My intention is irrelevant. The synthen studied her face, tone still flat. Do you deny lethal intent? Yes. Do you deny awareness of the potential outcome? No. Aria softened her voice. I was aware he misjudged the force he applied. He believed I would absorb impact. My reflex disagreed. The careless paced for trembling. You didn't stand. You didn't shift weight. You didn't brace. You didn't. Aria finished for him. I didn't escalate. The synthen paused mid-scroll. Other cadets described your expression as calm. I was seated, Aria said. Calm is efficient. The careless stared at her, voice thin. Do you feel anything now? Aria considered the question seriously. He made a decision. His body couldn't handle the physics of that decision. Emotion doesn't change outcome. The examiners exchanged a look. The synthen muted the panel and leaned forward slightly. Your stillness concerns the council. Aria held his gaze. Stillness means I am holding back. Not malfunctioning. That, the careless whispered, is exactly what concerns them. Before they could continue, the chamber lights shifted, amber to red, then back to amber. A soft chime signaled external access approval. A new figure entered. Tall. Armored. Moving like someone accustomed to combat in low-gravity environments. His rank markings glowed faintly on the dark plating of his uniform. Commander Rhys Dowran. Human. A rarity on the station. He approached the examiners with silent authority, then looked at Aria with a familiarity that surprised her. You're coming with me, he said. The synthen stiffened. Commander, this debrief is not complete. It is now. We require council authorization for removal. You have it, Rhys replied, placing a data chip onto the console. Classified directive. Transfer Cadet Leontis into human jurisdiction immediately. The careless's fur bristled. Is she dangerous? Rhys didn't answer. He didn't need to. Aria stepped away from the chair and approached him, though her expression didn't shift from its quiet neutrality. She stopped an arm's length away. You arrived quickly. We monitor everything involving humans. Rhys's voice was steady, restrained, but not cold. When a deathworlder kills without standing up, the galaxy panics. Aria scanned his posture, shoulders tense, gaze sharp, pulse steady. Not afraid. Concerned. Possibly impressed. More likely calculating. Will they charge me? She asked. Probably not. He inclined his head. They're too afraid of how many questions that would raise. Aria folded her hands behind her back. Then what happens now? You leave Leira-7. Quietly. She nodded once. Understood. But Rhys didn't move. Aria, you need to prepare yourself. They're not afraid because you killed him. She waited. They're afraid because you didn't mean to. Her pulse didn't change, but something subtle tightened behind her ribs. He noticed. Come, he said. We have a shuttle waiting. They exited through a back corridor, the kind used for transfers too sensitive to be seen by bystanders. The station's hum echoed through narrow steel walls, steady, metallic, almost like breathing. As they walked, Rhys asked, Do you understand what they saw? Aria kept her gaze ahead. A reflex arc. No, he replied. They saw inevitability. The corridor opened into a small docking hall, empty except for a sleek transport marked with minimal identification codes. Human-made, not station-issued. Its engines emitted a low-frequency thrum that resonated through Aria's bones, a familiar sound. Home engineering had a different voice than alien craft. Rougher. Sharper. Less polished. More honest. Rhys lowered the ramp. Inside. Aria stepped in. The interior was dim, lined with modular seating and tactical consoles locked behind transparent panels. She took a seat near the viewport. Rhys entered, sealing the hatch behind him. The engines pulsed. Silence settled in. He didn't sit immediately, only stood across from her and watched her profile. Aria, tell me your version. Version implies manipulation, she replied. There's nothing to adjust. He waited. Aria finally said. He wanted to test me. My reflex acted before I formed thought. I remained seated. Rhys gave a slow exhale. You understand what comes next, right? Yes. You'll be studied. Yes. You'll be monitored. Yes. You'll be handled carefully. She turned her eyes toward him. Because they're afraid? No, Rhys said. Because if you ever stop holding back, they want to be the first to know. The transport disengaged from the docking clamps, drifting into the black with a gentle rise. Starlight fractured across the hull. Aria watched the station shrink behind them. Will Earth interfere? Earth will pretend nothing happened, Rhys said. That's how they keep leverage. Aria nodded. I understand. But Rhys leaned closer, voice dropping. I'm not sure you do. The galaxy doesn't fear human aggression. They fear human restraint. Aria absorbed that quietly, gaze on the stars. Because they don't know its limits. They don't know if it has any. The transport entered slipstream. Space bent, stretching into pale currents of light. The moment the ship stabilized, Rhys finally sat across from her. You're being reassigned to a secure human facility, he said. Observation, training, evaluation. Aria clasped her hands in her lap. Will they try to fix me? No. His tone softened. They'll try to understand you. Aria's eyes lowered for the first time. Not in shame. In reflection. Do you think I'm dangerous? She asked. Rhys hesitated, not long but enough. I think, he said carefully, that you were built for a world that tries to kill you every minute. And nothing here knows how to interpret that. Aria didn't answer. She didn't need to. Her silence spoke louder than fear, guilt, or pride. Because somewhere beneath that stillness, beneath all the calm she held like armor, something else stirred. Not violence. Not desire for power. Certainty. The certainty that her world had shaped her into something the galaxy wasn't ready to name. The certainty that what happened in the concourse wasn't a mistake. It was a reminder. A warning the galaxy had just heard for the first time. And wouldn't forget. Not now. Not ever. As slipstream light bled across the viewport, Aria whispered, barely audible, not meant for Rhys or the sensors or the silent walls around them. Stillness isn't weakness. Her reflection in the glass held her gaze. It's the moment before everything changes. The transport carried her deeper into the slipstream's glow, leaving the station, and the shattered fear it birthed, far behind.